Hi everyone! In today's video, I wanted to show you how I did this flower design. Each nail is going to be a little bit different, but I'm gonna teach you step by step so you guys can do this at home. But before we start, you guys know that it's so important to always prep the nails. And since I'm using a plastic hand, all I can really do is file them. And now that I have everything done, I'm gonna start getting the form ready. You guys know that I like to do acrylic nails, so that's the reason why I'm doing these cuts on the side, because they serve me as a guide for me to know where I have to apply the acrylic. For today's tutorial, I'm gonna be doing coffin-shaped nails, so that's the reason why I closed off the form a lot more than usual. And when I do acrylic nails, what I like to do is that I apply the first bit between the natural nail and the form. And I'm gonna keep pushing this acrylic down until I create the shape that I like. And once I have that done, I'm gonna apply the second acrylic bead and I'm gonna end up covering everything up. And of course, now that I have the nail done, I'm gonna apply some pressure on the sides. This step is so important because this is gonna make your nail look a lot more natural. In the second nail, I'm going to be using the same type of acrylic, so what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to apply the first bead between the natural nail and the form. And of course, I'm going to be using my brush to push the acrylic down and create the shape. What I like to do is that I use the lines on the form as a guide for me to know where I have to apply the acrylic, and in that way I can make the sides of the nail be as straight as possible. And of course, once I have that done, I'm gonna apply the rest of the acrylic and cover up the entire nail. And once you have that done, of course, apply some pressure on the sides, just like always. This third nail is going to be a little bit different because here what I'm gonna do is this type of ombre. I'm gonna be using yellow and pink. So the first thing that I'm gonna start doing is create the tip of the nail with this really pretty neon yellow acrylic powder. I think that this type of color goes perfect for the summer. It's so pretty. And once I have the tip done, I'm gonna start applying the pink acrylic powder. And here what I'm gonna try to do is make this type of liquid beads for me to have time to mix these two colors together. Like you guys can tell, I'm gonna keep pushing this acrylic down until it's kind of near the tip of the nail. What you guys have to make sure here is that both colors kind of melt together. And of course, once I have the nail done, I'm gonna wait a couple seconds until it's time for me to apply some pressure on the sides. On this last nail, what I'm gonna be doing is this encapsulated French nail. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is create this type of almond-shaped, very small almond-shaped nail, because like you guys know, this is gonna serve us as a guide for us to create the French design. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna use the pink acrylic to create this almond-shaped nail. And here what you guys have to make sure is that both sides look symmetrical. And what I'm gonna do to do that is that I'm gonna take off the form and I'm gonna file the sides with this file. When you guys do this step, be careful with the form because we're still gonna have to use it later on to finish up this French nail. And like you guys can tell, I already applied it here. So the next thing that I'm gonna be doing is that I'm gonna be mixing some of these yellow sparkles because I wanted everything to match with some crystal acrylic powder. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna finish up creating this coffin shaped nail. And just like I told you before, I'm gonna be using the lines on the form for me to make sure that all of the nails look exactly the same, because otherwise the design is gonna look a little bit strange. And when you guys are doing this type of nails, what you have to do is encapsulate them. So I'm also gonna be using some of this crystal acrylic powder. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm applying some of this crystal clear acrylic on top of all of the glitter. And I'm gonna make sure that everything is well covered up. Also, a little tip that I have for you guys is to apply some of it on top of the pink acrylic that we done earlier, because in that way everything is going to melt together and it's gonna have less chances of actually breaking. And this is how these acrylic nails ended up looking. They are not perfect, but that's why filing is such an important step. The way I like to file nails is that first I start filing the sides, and since these are coffin shaped nails, I'm gonna follow the natural shape that it has, and I'm gonna put the file completely straight so no sides can end up looking curvy. And to finish up, I'm gonna file the surface of the nail with my E-file. And here what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna file everything down so the nails can end up being pretty thin. And also I'm gonna make sure that there's no bumps left behind, because otherwise the design can end up looking a little bit strange. And this is how the nails end up looking. Now everything is done and we're ready to finish up the flower design. Before we start, you guys know that it's so important to always clean up the nails, because after filing there's always going to be some dust left behind, and if we don't take that off, that can make our design look kind of dirty. Just like I told you before, all of the nails are going to have different designs, and for this first one I'm going to apply this base color that is this type of neutral pink that is very close to the acrylic pink that I applied earlier. And here what I'm going to do is this sugar nail, and to do that I'm going to need some of these sparkles, and I chose these yellow sparkles because I wanted everything to match. What I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna put these sparkles all over the nail, because remember we didn't cure this base color, so this is gonna serve us as a glue for us to apply these sparkles. And once I have everything done, I'm gonna cure it for 60 seconds so they can stick. And this is how this first nail looks like. On this second one, I'm also gonna start with the same color. I'm gonna apply this gel polish all over the nail, and here I'm gonna go over it twice, so I'm gonna be curing it each time for about 30 seconds. On this second nail, I'm gonna be doing the flowers that I told you about. So the first thing that I'm gonna be doing is that I'm gonna be using this dotting tool, and I'm gonna use this white gel polish. And what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna do a bunch of dots that are gonna serve me as a guide for me to draw the petals of the flower. And to do this, I'm gonna use this very thin nail art brush. And what I'm doing here is that I'm kind of drawing this type of water drops. And like you guys can tell, I didn't do the dots very close together because I didn't want the design to end up looking messy. So the way that I'm drawing these petals is I'm kind of creating these water drops just like I told you earlier, and I'm making two lines that connect together like I'm doing right here. And once I have that done, I'm gonna end up covering the petal up with the same white gel polish. I don't know if you guys can notice, but what I'm trying to do is make all of the petals the same size, because I don't really like it when one looks smaller than the other. And here I'm gonna make a second flower, which is gonna be on the right side of the nail. And I don't know if you guys can notice, but this flower is gonna be a little bit smaller than the first one. And here I'm gonna be doing just exactly like I've been telling you before. First, I'm gonna be creating these dots that are gonna serve me as a guide. And once I have that done, I'm gonna be making two lines that connect together. And then I'm gonna be filling it up with more of this white gel polish. And of course, I'm gonna cure everything for about 30 seconds. And this is how the flowers look like. And now to finish them up, I'm gonna be using the same dotting tool, and I'm gonna be creating two yellow dots. And of course, I'm gonna cure everything for 30 seconds. And this is how the nails look like, but we're not completely done yet because I'm gonna be applying some top coat. And I'm gonna apply it on these 3 nails. It's not only gonna add a really pretty shine, but it's also going to protect the design. And it's one of my favorite parts of doing this type of ombre nails because, like you guys can tell, you can really see how the 2 colors mix. And on this last nail, I'm also gonna be applying some more top coat because we're not completely done on this one. We're gonna be applying some more sparkles. And of course, I'm gonna be curing everything for about 60 seconds. And this is how it looks like. And now onto the last nail. Here, I'm gonna be using some more white gel polish, and I'm also gonna use the same thin nail art brush. And I'm gonna go over the French design like I'm doing right here. And of course, since we're gonna be adding some sparkles, we're not gonna cure it yet because this is gonna serve as a glue. And I'm gonna be adding the same yellow sparkles that I added on the first nail because I want everything to match. And once I have that done, I'm gonna cure it for 60 seconds. And this is how it looks like, but since you guys know adding sparkles, sometimes there's some left behind and we have to clean that off. And I'm gonna be using this brush to clean up all of the sparkles that are left behind. And this is how the final design looks like. I know that we did a bunch of different designs in each nail, but I think that this looks really fun for the summer. I hope you guys liked this tutorial. If you did, please subscribe and like this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!